Hello there, welcome back to my views and news. Three news stories from Ethiopia and Eritrea. Firstly, Fano groups have formed a new brigade. The brigade reportedly is a big brigade. Thousands of Fano fighters are members, and some of them were trained, majority of them trained abroad reportedly. And this brigade has been given one task to secure Amhara border with a neighboring country. What is the name of this brigade and where will the brigade members be deployed? How many are there? Details for you. Secondly, 2 days ago, we heard about an upcoming documentary on Fana TV about the Red Sea. A trailer was published. That trailer created shockwaves in the Horn of Africa. The documentary, much awaited documentary, is going to be published in coming hours. And thirdly, a top Eritrean delegation was in Egypt yesterday. What was the agenda? Firstly, viewers, Fano groups have established a new brigade. We got this information from some insiders. The new brigade has been established because Fano groups want to ensure that they continue receiving logistics, weapons from abroad. By the way, military has been launching the operation in the Amhara region for months. And we have seen fighting on dozens of fronts. And military knows pretty well that Fano fighters could be receiving shipments of arms through neighboring countries. But I did not see any major attempt by military to secure the border, Amhara region's border with a neighboring country. We heard some operations there against Fano in border areas, but still we cannot say that the operations were large-scale operations that military has decided to secure the entire border. Is it due to logistical constraints? The military cannot secure the border. I'm talking about Amhara-Sudan border, Ethiopia-Sudan border. Amhara region shares a long border with Sudan. Disputed Western Tigray also shares border with Sudan. Western Tigray, Humera Volkai Sagade, under the control of Ethiopian military and Amhara militia members. But the border, mainstream Amhara Sudan border, there is military deployed there on border crossing like Matimma, etc. But Fano fighters have their presence too in border areas. We did some videos about Fano's presence in Kwara, which is not far away from Sudan, Ethiopia border. Now, Fano groups, realizing the need for having link with the neighboring country, have established a new brigade. Name of this brigade is Nejat. Around 3 to 4,000 Fano fighters are part of this brigade. One task of the brigade: secure the border. Which is not actually one task. It means that this brigade members will be in touch with players abroad too. If Fano wants weapons through Sudan, obviously this brigade will play a key role. And secondly, we have seen some small scale operations on border by military to push Fano fighters away from Sudan border. But those operations were not large scale. Maybe a large scale operation in border areas is coming. That is why Fano has made its preparations and this new brigade has been established. Interestingly, most members of this brigade are well-trained former Amhara Special Force members, and they were trained in Eritrea. It could be a bit alarming for Ethiopian government because if Eritrea-trained ASF members are deployed on border, it means that through Sudanese border, they can connect with Eritrea too. Sudanese military is not in a position to enforce its writ on its side of the border these days because Sudan is faced with an internal civil war. Eritrea has tremendous influence in Sudan now. Al-Burhan's government is relying on Isaias Afwerki's support for recognition. And Eritrean intelligence agencies are freely operating in border areas. It means that these Eritrea-trained Amhara Special Force members, part of Nejat Brigade of Fano, they can enter Sudan and they can connect with Eritrean intelligence elements. I'm not saying that they are connected, but they could connect. And secondly, as I said earlier, a big operation on the border could be coming. Or before the start of a big operation, Fano fighters want to ensure that they have access to Sudan. I said in a video that Fano fighters are trying to ensure that they don't repeat the mistakes made by Tigray fighters. This is one of those points which I was referring to, that they want to ensure their access to Sudan. Tigray fighters lost access to Sudan. They could not break the siege. And I think they focused more maybe on Wollo, on Wog-Hemra, though they tried to recapture Western Tigray. Had they captured Western Tigray, maybe they would have been in a better position. They could not. They focused on Wollo, Afar, Ethiopia-Djibouti road, where they could not achieve their objectives. So Fano does not want to repeat this mistake made by Tigray fighters. It wants to ensure that its fighters are connected with a neighboring country. Let's see how government responds. Does the government have required manpower, logistics to secure the entire Amhara-Sudan border? Very important question, because Ethiopian military is deployed all across the Amhara region, deployed in Somali region to secure the region from Al-Shabaab attacks, deployed in Tigray too, in border areas, in Oromia as well. So this is basically an overstretched military deployment, which if continues will have its consequences for the military, for Ethiopian leadership. But this brigade establishment has been confirmed to us by some people who are close to these developments. Secondly, viewers, 2 to 3 days ago, PM Abiy was heard talking about the Red Sea. Fana TV published a trailer of an upcoming documentary about the Red Sea. And there PM Abiy was heard calling for the need to talk about access to Red Sea. And that clip of the Prime Minister created shockwaves in the Horn of Africa. Was the PM Abiy addressing Eritrea or Djibouti? Was he sending a message to international players that Ethiopia wanted access to the Red Sea? So we were waiting for a full documentary. And at 9 p.m. local time, Fana TV will publish this documentary. So we'll try to do a video after the documentary. If someone wants to share the main points of the documentary while it is being aired, you can contact me, though I have my own translators too. But I always rely on multiple translations. That is how I am able to get the accurate translation. But if anyone wants to share translations, welcome. You can contact me at sajid672000@gmail.com. You can start sending me translations as the documentary is aired at 9 p.m. And please do share your input too. Input matters. How do you see this documentary? Because everyone is waiting for this documentary. Oromos, Amharas, Tigrayans, Eritrea, Djibouti people too. So it's a very important development, which we'll try to analyze in coming videos. Thirdly, was a top Eritrean delegation was in Egypt yesterday. Jimena Gabriel, Ben Usman Saleh, met with Sami Chokre, who is Egyptian of Foreign Minister. What was the agenda? According to Yamana Gebremeskel, the agenda was Sudan. The two sides discussed the ways to bring peace to Sudan. We know that in Egypt a few weeks ago, a regional conference was held. Isas Afwerki participated, PM Abiy attended as well. Deliberations were held, discussions were held about how to put an end to the armed conflict in Sudan. And a statement was issued and there PM Abiy and Isas Afwerki met on the sidelines of that conference. We've seen several conferences on Sudan in neighboring countries. In Ethiopia, some African leaders met. In Sudan, in Eritrea, too, in Egypt as well, in Chad, too. So several mediation initiatives ongoing. Eritrea took lead a few weeks ago when it hosted Burhan and pro-Sudanese military elements in Asmara. So Eritrea is emerging as a player in Sudan now because Al-Burhan visited Eritrea and Jibril Ibrahim, Juba peace deal signatories, they were there, 2 meetings were held. Eritrea tried to mediate sort of agreement between Al-Burhan's government and Juba peace deal signatories. Maybe Eritrea wants Egypt on board too. Both Eritrea and Egypt supporting Al-Burhan side. They're not supporting rapid support forces. So the main topic of discussion was Sudan and bilateral ties. Egypt is in a difficult position these days. Egypt-Gaza border is closed and Israel is threatening the people of Gaza, northern Gaza, around 1 million, to leave northern Gaza towards southern Gaza. Southern Gaza shares border with Egypt. Egypt has been opposing the entry of people of Gaza on its territory. Why? Because it could lead to involvement of Egyptian soil in attacks against Israeli forces. So Rafah border crossing is closed. Egypt was trying to be relevant in Sudan. It is relevant, it shares border with Sudan, it is backing Al-Burhan government. Now it has a new conflict on its border with Gaza, Israel. Let's see, can Egypt continue the focus on Sudan? We'll see in Kano. Eritrea is focused. Eritrea is focused on Sudan. That is why this visit happened. That Eritrea wants to keep Egypt on board to regarding formation of new government in Sudan, it seems. Thank you for watching.